Mercury, the youthful one, the fastest of all the planets, the one that represents speech and our ability to think. What happens when the swift, youthful Mercury meets the aggressive, competitive Mars? In quite a few ways, Mercury and Mars are complete opposites. One is the lover, the other the fighter. Mercury can be seen as the spoiled brat, the immature child, the one that likes to be friends with everyone and play some tricks here and there. He is communication, so he is all about talking to people, not competing with them. Now, Mars, on the other hand, is of course the ultimate masculine symbol. He literally represents the male organs, and he is also the one that represents aggression and competition. So they are at complete odds with each other. But how does a conjunction between them actually work? Well, if Mercury represents speech, then once he is under the influence of Mars, the speech becomes very aggressive. If Mercury represents communications and technology such as, well, cables, for example, add Mars to it and it becomes high voltage cables or barbed wire. Everything that Mercury represents all of a sudden becomes far more aggressive. That is why they are considered enemies, because you don't want to negotiate with yelling. It doesn't actually work. But that's exactly what happens with this conjunction. Now, there is an upside to this conjunction as well, because while Mercury is language and communication, Mars is physics and exact sciences. So, this combination can produce quite a brilliant mind, especially in the fields of physics, mathematics, etc. Because the person can all of a sudden think logically and overthink things to the extent that he understands much more than most people. Things are a little less bright on the medical side of things because Mercury represents the nervous system and the skin, and with the effect of Mars we can see an overload of the nervous system, nervous tics, or even epilepsy in certain cases, but that requires involvement from one of the nodes, at least usually. Now, it also represents skin diseases because, again, you have an overheating, over energizing of the skin itself. Now, you might have noticed that there is a trend. It is Mercury that becomes afflicted, not Mars. Well, how is Mercury affecting the areas that Mars governs? Actually, a good example would be a chess game, because instead of chess competing with raw power, now you have brain power that comes and aids you. So you can be a competitive chess player or someone who plays competitive poker, for example. It can also represent someone who is a hacker or a code breaker, because again, you combine logic with aggressive action. On the medical side of things, you won't actually see much negative effects on the muscles, for example. However, there will be an effect on someone's sex drive because Mercury is considered both androgynous and bisexual in terms of astrology. So when it comes to being combined with Mars, well, a person can swing both ways, shall we say. Now, if there's another affliction, it can cause something like gender dysphoria, a person being transgender, etc. But that's a rather rare situation, and usually it just means that a person is pansexual, for example, as in he'll screw everything that moves, and everything that doesn't move, he'll move. The only possible negative effect, and that is really dependent on the house placement, etc., is when it comes to actual competitiveness, because again, Mercury is not the competitive type. So it can create a situation where a person is not willing to compete, or where he's overthinking, analysis paralysis. And that, of course, can affect someone's ability to achieve. Overall, due to the nature of Mercury being so fluid, one can clearly see that this conjunction is far less of a problem than most conjunctions of arch-enemies, astrologically speaking. Yet, as you have seen, there are some issues that need to be addressed, and if someone does have this conjunction, he should be learning impulse control and to control their speech so that they are able to communicate without too much aggression. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and if you wish to learn more about medical astrology and astrology in general, please check out my website. You will find the link below. Thank you.